We're here at 65 Albert Street, Soul Gallery in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I'm Julie, the curator here. I'm so thrilled to announce a duo exhibition by Phil Brake and Leanne LaForge. It opens tomorrow night, November 14th, and is showcased until November 28th. Today, it is a great pleasure to introduce Leanne LaForge to you. This is the first time we've met. I'm just thrilled to have you as part of Soul Gallery, Leanne. And I'm going to just hand this over to you so you can share a little bit about your inspiration and your artwork here.
Well, it's wonderful to be here in Soul Gallery and to be with Julie and Laura. It's exciting to be part of this whole new downtown gallery, and I've been following Julie for a while. She inspires me with her creativity, her consideration of all the factors that go into the life of an artist, the work they produce. She's a visionary, and I'm just so pleased that we've gotten to meet each other finally in person. My group of paintings that are here today are part of a series that I worked on, feeling a lot of emotion as I was painting them. Some of that emotion comes from personal loss recently, and it is embedded into what I do. And I think that also reflects on the whole idea of abstract art. People say, well, what is it? I don't get it. So a little snapshot for you of post-war art that was mostly in Paris, France, and it came to New York, and I can talk about that at a later date. But it was a whole new genre, a new beginning for people who had suffered, who had dealt with a lot of loss, and they said it's time to do something new. And so they began throwing paint around, moving paint, putting canvases on the floor, and just working large. I remember my first painting I bought 50 years ago, and it was an abstract piece. And my mother was an artist, and she would paint little scenes, and she'd say, come and paint with me. And it wasn't my thing. So we all have a different way of, I love all kinds of art, but for me, I really felt empowered by doing abstract. So these all are based on I start with a grid formation with geometrics. So we've got hard edge, and then I create a lot of my emotional art through what I interpret through this stream of consciousness, through knowing about composition. Some people think, well, you just throw paint and it just looks good or it doesn't look good. But if you have studied art, you understand there's all different forms of composition, even in abstract art. So you don't have to look for the little deer on the hillside because you're not going to find him there. But what I really want my audience to do is to stand back and look and get a feeling about color. And I talked about that a little bit on the web page, that color represents so many things. We talked about red as passion, and blue as sometimes in a moody, blue also in intellect is always part of blue. Hey, maybe that's why I like blue. Multiple layers upon layers to create a composition that I feel once I have worked through different layers, subtraction, addition, balance, having breathing room, spaces where what I see is important shows through, and I'm never really satisfied until I can finally kind of feel my hand pull away and it's done. And it's a wonderful sense of completion. It's about the soul. It's about my feelings, my emotions. I think I shared with Julie that one of my best paintings I think I ever did was last year, and it was called A Song for My Brother, because he passed away from leukemia. It was about emotion. And if I can just say that to you as an audience, you can understand painting is a beautiful act, a way of allowing your emotions, happy, joy, sadness, it's all part of life, shine through. And I'm just so thankful I've had teachers and mentors in the world of abstract art, one from New York, from the School of New York, which I'm forever indebted to. And she's still painting, I have to tell you, at 90 years old. She was a student of Helen Frankenthaler, And I just feel so privileged that Lila Lewis was my biggest influence in my art. So I hope people come and see the show and kind of get a sense of it's not just whatever you think you might like to throw on a canvas, but it's been well thought out, planned. And then there's an intuitive factor where it kind of has a flow, it takes a life of its own. So thank you so much, and hope to see some of you at the show. Thank you.
And I'm here to introduce you to a man that does not need introduction at Soul Gallery, Bill Brake. Bill has been with us for almost 10 years.
Really?
That's so wonderful. And I'm just going to hand it over to him so he can share a bit about his inspiration for finding beauty in this exhibition. Thank you.
So this is my show, Finding Beauty. I think I didn't really have a name for the show, but when it's up in a gallery, of course, everything has to have a name. This painting is called Pedro's Coimbra, and it's from a series I did based on paintings from Portugal. So finding beauty kind of means that whenever I go somewhere, I sort of have that in mind as my number one focus. Thinking about what am I going to paint next, and how do I find something that is just gorgeous. I do a lot of lake scenes, and I was thinking this morning about what I wanted to say. And I used to be an avid fisherman, and I would just, so focused on my fishing rod and catching those fish, and would be out on the lake, and I wouldn't even appreciate the beauty because I was so focused on the fishing. And then at some point I started thinking about, it's the gorgeous lake, not the fishing. This one is called Lily Pad Bay. It's from Lake of the Woods. And I really like the reflections on the water. I like the rocks. I like the trees. I like the moss. It always just captivates me. And there's something about Lake of the Woods that you can't find in other places. I think the beauty is amazing. And I have another one from Lake of the Woods over here. Which I really liked. I liked this big ledge of rocks that ran through the picture, and this white pine that was hanging over the water. I get really excited about doing these kind of pictures, and so people, I've sold several, and it seems that every time I see something like this, it seems like a real challenge. Can I make this look even better than the last one? So that's kind of been my mission. This is another painting from Portugal. It's called Stone Beauty, and we were at this big, the ruins of a castle, and I was trying to figure out, what do I want to paint here? I think the castle was just too big, and I just couldn't figure out a way to paint it. But I was just really taken by this stuff called fleabane that's growing in the castle wall. So I decided to paint that. This Saturday, November 16th, I'll be here in the afternoon working on a piece, doing a demo. So if you're interested in seeing me paint on silk, I'll see you on Saturday.